Hello everybody, welcome back to another election prediction video. This time we're going to be taking a look at the polls. So this is strictly a polling average video of each state by state poll, just like the average of the current polling. So let's just get right into it. So the first few states we're going to set up are the safe blue ones. Actually, I'm going to go back to Oregon here because we did get an interesting Oregon poll. Let's go back here. There was a poll done here. Great, now I gotta find it. There it is. So there was one poll. It's by a D-rated pollster, so it's literally the only poll we got at the time I'm making this video, but they do say it's a likely blue race in Oregon. Again, these undecideds are all going to break for Harris at the end of the day. It's a very blue state. I expect Harris to win Oregon by like 15 points, something like that. She's going to win it by a good amount. And while we're over at Oregon, I want to check out Washington. Yeah, it's plus 15, so it's safe D. So Oregon, surprisingly, likely blue. Alaska, I'm pretty sure they didn't have any polling done recently with this matchup, so we really don't know what's going on there. Nebraska second. It's literally just a guess right now. So, because there's like no polling done here in this matchup either, but as a guess, it'd probably be a lean Harris district. It could even be likely, but I'm going to be cautious and put it as lean. I do believe we did get a South Carolina poll. Right? Let's see. Let's go back to the national map. No South Carolina poll, so we're just going to have to assume it's safe Republican. We also didn't get an Iowa poll, but we did get a Iowa straw poll that had Trump up by a very large amount. I think it was 20, an Iowa straw poll, but those usually lean pretty conservative. So I think Trump's going to do very well in Iowa. I think he probably wins the state by 12 still. So I would put this as safe red, just based off the polling. Texas, we did not get polling out of, but I do believe it'll be a likely R state. It could even be a lean R, according to the polls, but I'm just going to say it's probably going to show Trump up by 6 in the polls. That's my current guess. Florida is only R plus 5, by the way. One recent poll showed Trump only up here by 3. Another showed him up here by 7. Let's average that out. It's a 5-point lead. Illinois, I'm assuming, is going to be safe blue. These states, let me just fill in. Delaware is not going to be likely blue. I know some conservatives were saying it was going to shift that way for some reason because, oh, Biden's off the ticket. That's not happening. It's going to be a safe blue state. They're delusional. I don't see Delaware going below 10, and I don't think polls would show it like that either. New Jersey, I don't believe we got polling out of that state, but I think we could say it's probably going to be safe blue as well. Did we get any polls out of Colorado? No, but I'm assuming it'll show Harris up by over 10. This is a very blue trending state. It's kind of just the way it's going. New Mexico, I also didn't get any polls out of, but I'm assuming it's going to go like to Harris by about 8% based off the polls. That's kind of where I think it would land. Virginia is interesting because we haven't had any polls done there since Biden has dropped out. And as we've seen with post-dropout polls, before the dropout, Harris is down by a good amount, but after the dropout, Harris has gone up. So, again, I'm going to put this as a lean blue state according to the polls, but it could easily just shift to likely blue after the polls. So, for now on the polling map, Virginia is lean blue. Not my predictions, just a polling map. I wouldn't have Oregon likely blue or Virginia lean blue if this was a prediction. All right, let's keep on going. We did get an Ohio poll, and it only shows Trump up here by 9%. And there was a Republican internals that have him below 50 in the state. So, yeah, according to the polls, Ohio's not over 10. It's not a safe Republican state currently. Over in Minnesota, we had a bunch of polls here, and with Harris picking Tim Walz as a running mate, it pretty much solidifies Minnesota as a blue state. But the polls currently have Harris up here by a very large margin, 7 to 8 point average in Minnesota. Moving over to Maine, we also got good polling data from this state as well. Shows Harris up by 7. Maine's first is safe blue. Maine's second, interestingly, is only a lean Republican. So Maine has definitely shifted a good amount since that post-dropout. A very competitive Maine second district, which is quite surprising. I thought I was going to go safe Republican for a while this year. Going over to New Hampshire, we got polls up here showing Harris up by a likely blue margin. really doesn't shock me. I kind of expected her to solidify her hold on this state. And now we have a bunch of Rust Belt polls we're going to take a look at. We had New York Times, Siena, an A-plus pollster found Harris leading by 4 in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. So I'll take a look at Pennsylvania first. We got a bunch of polls showing Harris up here, 4 points, 4 points, 1 point, 3 points. The only pollster that showed Trump up is Trafalgar, which is not a surprise. It's a very right-leaning, biased pollster that majorly missed the mark back in 2022. They had wild results last time. Again, we're seeing a clear, consistent trend here that Harris is pulling above 1% in the state of Pennsylvania, which makes it a lean blue state. Michigan, let's take a look at that state. There's been a few ties between Trump and Harris here, but most of the pollsters are really showing a clear trend towards Harris in the states. This is another lean blue state, according to the polls. We're going to Wisconsin next, and Wisconsin's a tough state to poll, but so far Harris is a pretty consistent lead. There's a couple ties. One poll has her down by 1. Marquette University poll, the best pollster in Wisconsin, has it as an only 1 point race, but other pollsters say it's a 3 to 4 point race. Bullfinch even said it was 9% Harris, which it's not going to happen. It's not going to be a likely blue margin. That's an outlier, but it's still in the average. And overall, Harris on average is up in Wisconsin by about 2 to 3 points. Same with Michigan, 2 to 3, and Pennsylvania, it's about 1 to 2, I believe. But Wisconsin would also be a lean blue state, according to the polls. Now let's take a look at Nevada. And we're including that one poll in Nevada and Republican internal that's not included in the average. That Republican pollster said Harris was up by 6 in the state of Nevada, which kind of explains why Republicans aren't investing a lot of money into this state. I think they kind of already know that it's kind of a lost cause for Republicans. It's only 6 electoral votes. It really isn't going to help either candidate that much, considering there's a lot of states that are worth 10 electoral votes that are swing states. And the Senate race is like a bloodbath, like, for Republicans. Sam Brown's losing like a landslide, apparently, to Jackie Rosen. She's beaten by double digits in the Senate polls, which is kind of crazy to see. And House Republicans are very much struggling in Nevada. All those seats that Democrats currently hold are all like likely blue. But again, with Nevada, we've thrown a Harris plus 6 poll. That would make this average go to a tilt blue state. Currently, the average has it as a narrow tilt Trump state because it's including like Trump plus 10 polls before the drop. In this polling average video, I'm excluding any polls done before the dropout because that completely changed the entire race. So these previous Trump polls are not going to count, in my opinion, because they're just not accurate anymore. But with that Harris plus 6 poll included in the average, with that Republican internal, this makes Nevada a tilt blue state, according to the polls. Arizona, we're actually seeing a lot of momentum going towards Harris. We've seen her post-dropout lead in 1, 2, 3 polls, while Trump has led in 3 in this as well. But so far, I think Arizona and Nevada, according to the polling averages, are narrowly tilting in favor of Harris currently. I mean, we exclude these pre-dropout polls, which honestly shouldn't even count. We just factor in these most recent polls. I think Harris is up narrowly. Again, public opinion strategies has a very low sample size as well, the 400 likely voters, so I'm not giving that much weight to this Trump plus 5 poll. I'd rather give more weight to the 1,000 Trafalgar Group poll showing Trump up by 1. Morning Consult poll shows 800 votes here. I'd rather give more weight to those pollsters, and so far I would say it's probably a tilt blue state according to the polls right now. Let's head to Georgia and North Carolina. Georgia, there's a ton of ties here. We're seeing a very, very competitive race in Georgia with these post-dropout polls. Trafalgar, of course, for some reason they don't have likely voters displayed on here. I think it just wasn't added in. It shows Trump up by 2. One poll showed Harris up by 1. But on average, Trump is still up here, but only by a 0.03% margin, I believe. I think that's what on racethewhitehouse.com it is, right? Oh, 0.5, but it's still a tilt Republican margin overall. But Trump's barely up here, and I really think Harris is very competitive here, and she will. I think she can definitely win this state if she gets high black turnout. North Carolina is also voting quite similar with Georgia, but it's more of a Trump-leaning state still. But we did get two polls conducted here post dropout of Biden. We're not including these old ancient polls for May and February into the average. They're just simply too old. I only pay attention to late July and August polls for this. So we have one poll Trump up 2, another Trump plus 4, and one poll shows Harris up by 1. There's also a Cook political poll that's not included in this app. I think this is BSG. I think that is the Cook political poll. But I think there was another poll out here showing Harris actually leading here. From my memory, I do recall there was another poll that showed that. But even on this map here, it's 0.7%. So that it would classify it as a tilt Republican state. So overall, this is the polling average map currently. Let me just get a good look here. But again, this is currently what the polls are saying. We're seeing the blue wall re-solidify. We're seeing North Carolina and Georgia get very, very competitive. Some polls even show Harris narrowly ahead in both states. We've seen Maine and New Hampshire and Minnesota get fortified for the Democrats. And we're seeing Nevada and Arizona, which used to be likely Republican states according to polling average, go back to tilt Democratic states. And we do have a weird wacko poll in Oregon, which I doubt actually happens, but that's just what it's saying so far. But the race has completely changed. Trump is now the underdog. Honestly, Harris's favorite chance at winning, the race favors her by a good amount. Her chance at winning is probably a 58% chance at winning right now. If I were to put odds on it, that's what I would put it as. But that's currently what the polls say. Harris has gained a lot of momentum since then, and it looks like she's going to keep on building that because the DNC convention's coming up soon, and that's going to give the Democrats another polling boost because that's how conventions work in American politics. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, I'd highly recommend subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.